This is the Hello World podcast, where we talk about habits of success, habits of excellence, entrepreneurship, leadership, learning and development, and outlook that will help us succeed through life. This is Louis Banta, CEO and Chief Trainer of Learning Just Made Better, or LJMB. This episode 7, is about the H in hello, habits of success and habits of excellence. Our guest for today will talk about success habits in building your business and in building your personal brand. She is a LinkedIn and personal branding strategist, a former assistant professor of communication. After teaching college students for more than 11 years, she transitioned to a work-from-home career as a freelance writer and editor in 2010. She has been featured 3 times in Forbes, Entrepreneur Media, and Marketing in Asia. To date, she's been featured, mentioned, and published in nearly 50 media channels globally. From freelancing, she rebranded her career to become the first LinkedIn trainer, speaker, and consultant. And now, the leading LinkedIn and personal branding expert in the Philippines. She's also founder and chief content strategist at VB Consulting and founder of LinkedIn Local Philippines, now called LinkedIn Meets Philippines. Let's all say hello world to Virginia Coach V Bautista. Say hello world, Coach V.
Hello, world, and hello, Louis. Thank you so much for the opportunity.
Thank you for saying yes to this podcast guesting. And to our dear listeners, Coach V and I had a very interesting story.
No.
Had a very interesting story, no? And while Coach V just remembers that, we crossed paths in LinkedIn this year. And imagine, I've also had myself mentored by Coach V in personal branding only this year because of the pandemic, and we had some free time and we're exploring a lot of things to do. And we discovered Coach Virginia Bautista of VB Consulting. Sabi natin kanina, first LinkedIn trainer, speaker, and consultant. And we asked her some tips on how she can help us really build a personal brand, starting in LinkedIn, and personal brand in general. Okay? Pero little did you know that she actually sent me a message in 2018.
Hindi ako pinansin.
I believe when you were starting in LinkedIn, but because generally, Coach, talagang ang LinkedIn sa akin noon pang hiring, pang recruitment, no? So if you're not an applicant, I really just really don't send messages. And now here we are featuring Philippines LinkedIn #1 expert, Coach VB, from academe to your freelancing career to now having your own consulting company, and now being LinkedIn's LinkedIn Philippines top marketing consultant. It's certainly a feat, and a lot of people may want to follow your footsteps, especially those who really want to go to entrepreneurship. Since this episode is about habits, what are VB's top 3 habits that help you in achieving your goals and achieving success?
Okay. Thank you so much again for the opportunity, Louis. There are so many things that I can share about habits, but the first thing I want to clarify is that I didn't really plan to be doing LinkedIn. When I discovered LinkedIn, konting story lang, no? When I discovered LinkedIn in 2014, di syempre, I really love LinkedIn. And I actually applied at LinkedIn Singapore in 2015. But I didn't tell my husband. Singapore yun eh, which means if I get accepted, I would have to go abroad, di ba? I was in the Philippines. So
and you
I
have
was
kids,
excited.
right?
I have kids, 2015 yun. And in my heart, kasi super in love ako with what I was doing on LinkedIn, feeling ko qualified ako. Di nag-apply akong ganyan, excited ako. That was the first time that I took writing cover letters seriously. Kasi I never I never had much experience in applying eh. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
yung previous jobs ko, nakuha ko lang siya. Hindi ako talagang nag-apply yung the usual locally. So, sineryoso ko yon. But then, when I received sometime in March 2015, I received a reply. Nasabi niya, "Dear Virginia, I'm sorry to tell you that um, something like they didn't want to consider me, something like that." So it was a rejection for me.
This
So
is linked in Singapore.
LinkedIn Singapore,
Oh,
nag-apply ako
okay.
noon, and then they did
Mm-hmm.
not accept me, and I really felt bad at that time because I really love LinkedIn. Yun
Mm-hmm.
nga yung sinasabi nila, sometimes you're in love with something and then you realize this thing cannot love you back. Parang ganon.
Mm-hmm.
For 2 days, I didn't go to LinkedIn. Sabi ko, okay, I think I should stop doing this. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't know, when you love something, you just go back here. You just wake up one day and you realize, I still want to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Even if they tell me I'm not qualified, I'm okay with that. So I found my way to become, instead of applying sa LinkedIn
Mm-hmm.
Corporation, but I now, in hindsight, I thought maybe I wasn't really qualified because the one I was
Mm-hmm.
applying for was a sales, ano pala siya, sales position,
Mm-hmm.
customer success manager. So I didn't
Okay.
even know na sales position pala yon. And yun nga, I think because I love what I was doing, I became an independent LinkedIn trainer, speaker, and consultant. So when people
Mm-hmm.
ask me how it happened, I just told them I didn't even plan to do it. I just followed what I really love doing, and it
Mm-hmm.
led me here. And I still love doing what I'm doing right now. So
So,
rejection yon, number one. Marami pang sumunod.
mm-mm. Mm-mm. And then you said several days, 2 days, you did not go to
Hindi,
LinkedIn.
hindi
How
talaga.
how d- how did you recover from that and eventually went back?
I think it's been a daily habit for me to do that eh. Kasi 'di ba,
Mm-hmm.
it's one thing to develop a habit. It's
Mm-hmm.
another thing to break that habit.
Okay.
So kung daily nasa LinkedIn ako tapos biglang hindi na ako nagle-LinkedIn, I
Mm-hmm.
assess why would I stop doing it just because
Mm-hmm.
this company or this person said I don't deserve it. I
Okay.
mean, that was the first time I realized it's not for them to tell whether I can do it or not.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm not qualified in that position, but
Correct.
that doesn't make me less of a person. So
Correct.
yon, na-realize ko. So I went back. And then consistently, ayun, until things happen. Now, dun sa habit that you were asking, tatlo lang, no?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, number one, excuse me, you have to develop the habit of believing in yourself.
Okay.
Why? I found out kasi I have a lot of clients din na professionals. A lot of
Mm-hmm.
them are doing great things. Tapos pag na-amaze ako sa kanila, when they speak, parang wala lang, parang normal lang. But ako, I
Mm-hmm.
get amazed with what they do. I think they were great, but they don't think they
Mm-hmm.
were. So I
Mm-hmm.
thought it's not normal for people to have that self-confidence. Even if
Mm-hmm.
they're doing great things, they don't think it's great. They just think it's normal for me.
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to develop that habit of self-confidence because
Mm-hmm.
people will doubt you, and when they doubt you, the easiest thing to do is to just give up and stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Second reason, because there will come a time that you will doubt yourself. Maraming
Mm-hmm.
ganun eh, di ba? Meron tayong goals. Gusto ko ganito yung
Yes.
goal ko, pero how can I even do that? I have so
Mm-hmm.
many goals like that. Okay, this date, I want to achieve this. But at the
Mm-hmm.
back of my mind, there's a voice inside my head that tells me, how can you do that? How
Mm-hmm.
can you reach this? You're not even here.
Mm-hmm.
So time will come that you yourself will doubt yourself. So
Mm-hmm.
develop the habit of believing in yourself because at first it doesn't come naturally. With
Mm-hmm.
a habit, it will become natural. And I think
Mm-hmm.
there are ways to develop that based on my experience. Number one, um, cultivate the attitude of gratitude.
Mm-hmm.
Alam mo yun, kasi sometimes you will feel down, lalo na ngayon, pandemic, right?
Yes.
People get rejected, people lost their jobs. When you talk to your friend, they have negative stories here, another negative
Mm-hmm.
story. You turn on the
Mm-hmm.
TV, more fearful events happening. You
Mm-hmm.
will get discouraged. But
Mm-hmm.
how do you avoid that? How do you develop that attitude of believing in yourself? Be
Mhm.
grateful.
Mhm.
Even if a lot of negative things are happening, honestly, laging may positive. You just have to look at the
Mhm.
positive one. So
Mhm.
cultivate the
Mhm.
attitude of
Mhm.
gratitude.
Mhm. Coach,
Like,
if I
yes.
may go back to your experience earlier, imagine if you got accepted in LinkedIn Singapore.
Mhm.
Yes, ang hindsight analysis natin dito,
Mhm.
your career could have gone elsewhere and maybe you can also be successful in a different town. Eh di wala tayong LinkedIn Philippines first trainer, speaker, and yes, di ba? I think ang ganda rin tignan yun that way that because of that rejection,
Mhm.
it eventually led you to a different path, which is, I
Mhm.
believe, what you have right now.
Right, right. And siguro I won't be happy on hindsight. This because that will mataas ang standards ko when I go abroad. Because
Mm-hmm.
I have to make sure that when I leave my kids, I have 5 kids, it will
Mm-hmm.
be worth it. Worth my
Correct.
time, worth my, being separated with my kids. So
Mm-hmm.
if
Mm-hmm.
they offer me this thing, for example, and I won't be happy, I won't take it. So
Mm-hmm.
probably
Mm-hmm.
that's another reason. So
Okay.
non-negotiable for me yung family always
Mm-hmm.
number one.
Mm-hmm.
I think even I get accepted, I will still have doubts because maybe my husband won't allow me.
Mm-hmm.
Because I didn't even tell him because I know he would say no to me.
So it could be a blessing in disguise pa rin, ano?
Is
That
it
you
is.
got
That's
rejected.
that's how I look at it.
Okay. Okay.
That's true.
So
Your
habit
second
one is
habit,
believe in yourself, no?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
get into the habit of believing in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Habit number
Mm-hmm.
2 is related to number 1. Get into
Mm-hmm.
the habit of surrounding yourself with people who believe in you.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's not just me. I met a lot of people. Now they want to do some branding. Kasi I have clients, but they want to do personal branding. They want to get themselves out there. But the number one enemy really sometimes is relatives.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are
Okay.
relatives who don't understand their vision. So suddenly, kapag nagre-reinvent sila,
Mm-hmm.
nahihiya sila. They're saying, oh, baka anong sabihin ng mga relatives ko, o kaya ng mga
Mm-hmm.
colleagues ko.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, if you are really serious about getting your goals, sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
requires you to give up the people you're used to being with, or give up the
Mm-hmm.
people who don't support you. And that's
Mm-hmm.
what one important thing that I learned on LinkedIn. On LinkedIn, when you have positive message, you will attract positive people. And
Mm-hmm.
when you start becoming, talking about negative things, you will attract negative people. And
Mm-hmm.
who can help you to go further? The positive ones. So
Mm-hmm.
it's important that you surround yourself with people who support you in
Mm-hmm.
achieving your goals. And I'm telling you, LinkedIn is very powerful in terms of attracting like-minded people. Kaya
Mm-hmm.
nga ako nakakuha ng collaborations on LinkedIn because through my posts, I get to, like you, I discovered you. And then ang daming, di ba, ang daming common. We both believe in adding value and all of those things. I get to collaborate because I get to attract yung post ko. I get to
Mm-hmm.
attract like-minded people. And I get attracted also to people who have the same values as mine.
Mm-hmm.
That's how powerful it is. Third habit, and yung second habit, no, just surround yourself with people who believe in you. And number
Mm-hmm.
3, be laser focused on your goals. This is very, very important because in my experience on LinkedIn, um, palaging maraming opportunities. The
Mm-hmm.
problem is if you are not laser focused on your goals, it's easy to get distracted. Alam, uy, ang gandang
Okay.
opportunity nun. I should be there. Uy, webinar.
Mm-hmm.
Uy, Summit International. Well, at the beginning, it's exciting. You get all
Mm-hmm.
of these invitations. But if you keep saying yes, 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 at the end
Mm-hmm.
of the day, you don't realize that it pulls you away from your goal. So
Mm-hmm.
it is very
Mm-hmm.
important to be laser focused. If
Mm-hmm.
there is an opportunity, quote unquote, that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't align with your number one goal, forget about it. Say no.
Mm-hmm.
Say no politely. Kasi, di ba?
Okay.
You don't just say no, but say no politely because you never know. This person inviting you now, could be the same person who could invite you to the next event that is super aligned with your next
Mm-mm.
goal. So that those are the
And
habits.
and you never know that, ano, yun ang mahirap, coach, ano, because
True.
you never know whether this opportunity will lead you, no? So what
True.
do you listen to? For example, should I say no? Should I say yes? Your basis will
I do
really
some
be your
weighing in.
goals.
I do some
Mm,
weighing
okay.
in. Number
Mm-hmm.
first one, I have, as I mentioned kanina, meron akong non-negotiables.
Okay.
Non-negotiables meaning if it will be at the expense of my family, I say no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Automatically no. If
Mm-hmm.
ano pa ba yung mga no ko? If hindi siya aligned sa goals ko. Kasi my goals change. For
Mm-hmm.
example, right now, I am in a new journey. Ang
Mm-hmm.
journey ko ngayon is the journey of an entrepreneur.
Okay.
Mahirap pala, no? That's what I realized. Parang, okay, I've been through a lot of rebranding. Now I'm on a new journey because I need to learn a lot and absorb a lot to manage a team, to build a team, to
Mm-hmm.
to consistently make sure that we're offering quality service. Ang daming gagawin as an entrepreneur. So I have to say no to many
Mm-hmm.
speaking opportunities. Hindi muna ako
Mm-hmm.
nagagano. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very selected lang talaga yung nagsasay yes ako. But I don't close
Mm-hmm.
the door. I make sure that the door is still open because I know these
Mm-hmm.
people can bring me more opportunities that are aligned with my
Mm-hmm.
future goals.
Maybe not ano, but not now.
Not
O siguro not
now.
yet, no?
Oo,
Mm-mm.
tama. Not now.
Mm. How long has VB Consulting been existing, coach? And how
Um,
many people do you have?
I started in 2017, pero that time halos ako lang lahat eh. I just thought there
Mm-mm.
should be a name, an entity name, because when I was
Mm-mm.
featured on Forbes in 2017, that was May 2017, tapos July 2017, dalawa siyang magkasunod. Ang
Mm-mm.
daming opportunities. And I didn't
Mm-mm.
even know na meron palang ganung market. So I
Mm-mm.
grabbed that opportunity and, build VB Consulting. At that time, ako lang
Mm-mm.
talaga yon.
Mm-mm.
But and at that time, I was also doing freelancing. So alam mo
Okay.
yun, nag-hustle, di ba? Yung age nyo,
Mm-mm.
hustle din. Meron kang
Mm-mm.
full-time, pero meron ka ring parang passion project mo. On
Correct.
the side,
Correct.
I was building my own. But meron talaga akong full-time na freelancing. Kasi yung full-time ko, this will assure my family of financial security. Kasi hindi mo
Mm-hmm.
pwedeng i-give up yung mag-passion ka na lang, may 5 akong anak. Di ba?
Correct.
Hindi siya realistic. It can sound
Mm-mm.
good, can sound attractive, pero in real life, hindi ganon. So, meron akong
Mm-mm.
full-time, nag-hustle ako sa LinkedIn.
Mm-mm.
And then, ako pa lang nun. And then, 2018, I think na-share ko din to sa LinkedIn. Kasi nag-six-figure ako noon every month. Nag-six-figure ako
Mm-mm.
noon, which at first feeling ko, possible kaya yun? And then
Mm-mm.
ilang years lang ako nag-freelancing, I got that. Pero
Mm-mm.
2 years later, I lost it. So imagine mo kung yung ako may family, of course, you want to provide for the family, tapos
Yes.
mawawala yung major source of income.
Mm-mm.
Yun
Mm-mm.
nga ang kwento ko noon is I was given 3 days or 3 months.
I read
Sabi
that.
niya,
Mm-mm.
aha,
Mm-mm.
3 days, 3 months because that's in my contract, yung
Mm-mm.
notice.
Mm-mm.
Pero
Mm-mm.
I was given an option to resign in 3 days. So nag-isip
Mm-mm.
ako, Friday, 3 days, Saturday, Sunday. Monday,
Mm-mm.
wala na akong trabaho. Ang galing. Sabi ko nga, hindi. Napaisip ako. Pero I think it's a good thing because for so long, at that time, nakaano pa ako, if you're familiar with freelancing, yung tracker, are you
Mm-hmm.
familiar with time tracker? May monitor ka, may screenshot yon, as may time tracker ka pa. Feeling ko I really didn't like that. Pero I
Mm-mm.
maintained the job because number one, I enjoy what I'm doing. It's writing and
Correct.
editing. And it gives security to my family. But given a choice,
Mm-mm.
I won't do it.
Mm-mm.
So
Mm-mm.
nung binigyan na ako ng termination letter na yon, hindi ko rin
Mm-mm.
sinabi sa husband ko, sabi na nag-resign ako in 3 days. Hindi ko
Wow.
sinabi I was given a choice to stay for 3 months.
Mm-mm.
But if
Mm-mm.
you think about it, 3 months
But
is
that was
already
3 months
enough.
without pay. Tama ba? Or with pay
So
pa
with
rin?
pay,
Ah,
with
okay.
pay.
Okay.
So imagine 3 months with pay, that's good enough for me to find another one. Diba? Good
Mm-mm.
enough yun. Mas secure ko na yung family ko and then good enough. Pero feeling ko, I could no longer last 3 months. because
Mm-mm.
in reality, my heart is already elsewhere. And
Mm-mm.
it's hard. It's hard. So sabi ko, maybe this is what I have been waiting for all this time.
Mm-mm. And what I'm getting from that is money. It's an affirmation of my belief that money is really not the sole basis of everybody else's decision. So to our listeners, no, if
Totoo.
you are at the crossroads, no, pinagpalit ni Coach V, no, yung kanyang 3 months with pay, but her heart is no longer there. Take a look at that. What your decisions will really ultimately boil down to either principles or what you value most. And I think,
Mm.
Coach, parang related pa rin dun sa three habits mo yan. Kasi you believed in yourself that even if you resign after 3 days, you can find a way, maybe
Yeah.
not being employed. No? Yun.
And that is primarily because I know the power of LinkedIn at that time. I knew
Mhm,
that if I lost this, there will be someone who would be happy to take me either as a freelancer or I can build my own. Because
mhm,
when you're on LinkedIn and you get opportunities, it opens yourself to the reality na hindi lang tayo maghihintay ng opportunity. We can
mhm,
create opportunities ourselves.
mhm, mhm,
And
mhm,
so I said, okay, I'm ready to move on. I just replied to his email, I'm ready to move
mhm,
on. Pero at the
mhm,
back of my mind, paano ba move on?
mhm, mhm,
But yun na, that was 2018. That forced me to really take VB consulting seriously.
mhm,
And I'm
mhm,
getting a lot. And timing yon, when I resigned, when I left there, parang 1 week later, somebody contacted me on LinkedIn, and that Australian was looking for someone to hire to do LinkedIn for him. Dito yon
mhm.
sa may Clark. Sakto nga siya,
Okay.
sabi ko, sakto siya.
Lapit.
I think God has a way of testing you at the beginning, and if you make
Mhm,
the right choice, you get your reward. Parang ganon.
mhm, mhm,
So yun, I got that opportunity, and then sineryoso ko na. From there, I started building VB Consulting. Nung
mhm.
February lang din, ako super nag-focus in managing the team.
This
Um,
February, this
This
year.
February lang
Ah,
talaga
okay.
kami. And
Okay.
pandemic talaga, ngayong pandemic talagang nag-grow kami more than 10 times compared last year.
Mm,
So when I'm
mm,
looking at our MRR last year, kasi I had the surgery for two
mm,
months, hindi ako nag-work noon. So
mm,
inalis ko lahat ng contract ko. Yun nakita ko, if I'm working and if I can't work, I
mm,
can't earn
mm,
money. So parang
mm, mm,
wala rin. So I think I have
mm,
to hire people so that it
mm,
can run without me even for a day or two. So doon lang
mm.
ako nag-start mag-build ng team. And ngayon, ano
Okay.
na kami? Ano na kami? 9 or 10 na kami ngayon.
Wow. Yeah, just
Pandemic
this
kami talaga
year.
nag-grow. Yeah, just this year.
And just right on time, no? Parang your expansion just came right on time. You were expanding on February, and then COVID hit us
Oo nga.
March, no?
Right,
What
right.
perfect timing.
Mhm.
Coach, to clarify, just to clarify, 2014, 2015 was when you started in LinkedIn. Yes, you
Yep.
were really posting a lot of content at that time. It was a daily habit.
Actually, hindi. I didn't know what I
Ah,
was
okay.
doing before that.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
posting, but I didn't know exactly why I was posting. Wala pa akong branding
Mm-mm.
sense noon.
Okay.
I just
Okay.
realized that I should be taking my brand seriously in
Mm-mm.
2017 when I was featured
Mm-hmm.
on Forbes. Because the
Mm-hmm.
one who featured me on Forbes is Joe. Joe is a
Okay.
brand builder. So as a
Okay.
brand builder, I got curious, what does he do? So doon ko
Mm-mm.
inara, ito pala yung personal branding. And then I realized,
Mm-mm.
so it's personal branding that I was doing all this time. That
Mm-mm.
was when I
Mm-mm.
realized, ayun, I became more conscious of it. Noong
Mm-mm.
2014, I know the algorithm, I know how it works, but the thing is, there are always so many changes in terms of algorithms on LinkedIn,
Mm-mm.
and it changes
Mm-mm.
without notice. So,
Mm-mm.
and just knowing the algorithm and just knowing how LinkedIn works, it's not enough.
Mm-mm.
It's not
Mm-mm.
enough because even if you know how it works, even if you know what time you're going to post, if
Mm-mm.
you don't have direction, if you don't have branding, if you don't know exactly what you want to be known for, you'll be scattered.
Mhm,
You'll be all over
mhm,
the
mhm,
place. And that's
mhm,
not a good thing. So I know
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people on LinkedIn who get a lot of traction, but they
Mm-hmm.
don't get opportunities that they can convert or they can monetize.
Mm-hmm.
And that's
Mm-hmm.
because of the lack of clarity. Without
Okay.
clarity, nasa LinkedIn ka, wala, makiki-engage ka, makiki-comment ka,
Mm-mm.
makiki-post ka. At the end of
Mm-mm.
the day,
Mm-mm.
okay, hindi mo na mo-monetize. Kasi at the
Mm-mm.
end of the day, you really have to get something from your time. Because you're
Yes.
spending your time. In one way
Mm-hmm.
or another, it doesn't have to be money anyway. It
Correct.
doesn't have to be money. Could be opportunities that
Yes.
can help you advance your career. So
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
kaka-LinkedIn ko niyan because I was always on LinkedIn. That May 2017, a Forbes contributor saw me on LinkedIn, and
Mm-hmm.
that changed
Mm-hmm.
everything for me.
So
So,
it's not just money, no? Talagang breaks and
talaga.
even your network. Imagine you're rich in friends and so many people who can open doors and windows and a lot of other breaks for you.
And ihabol ko lang, Louie,
Go ahead.
we grow ngayon, di ba, 10 na yung members ko. We grow more than 10 times. And you
Mm-hmm.
know the reason for that. It's not it's not what I'm doing on LinkedIn now. It's what
Mm-hmm.
I had been doing on LinkedIn in the past. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm reaping
Mm-hmm.
the rewards because
Wow.
many of
Wow.
these people are referrals
Mm-hmm.
of my
Mm-hmm.
network on LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
imagine I'm super grateful sa mga nasa
Mm-hmm.
network ko because they refer me. Even if they
Mm-hmm.
don't become my client, when they know someone who needs LinkedIn services,
Mm-hmm.
they will know,
Mm-hmm.
okay, I think you should contact Virginia. And that's also the
Mm-hmm.
power of branding. If you
Yes.
have clarity, you know that when people need your services, ikaw lang ang may isip nila. You stay top of mind. So yun, thankful ako sa network ko kasi referral ang nagpag-grow sa
Mm-hmm.
amin ngayong pandemic.
And to our listeners, the reason why I call Virginia Coach V
Mhm.
is again, if you did catch it in the beginning, I said we I came back to LinkedIn in April because of the pandemic to look for clients. What I found is a community where people post just like Facebook, no? But the content of the post, no, really value adding, really helps you boost your
Right.
professional knowledge. And si Coach VB, isa yan sa mga unang-una kong nakita uli sa LinkedIn. We attended your webinar,
Mm.
yes. And
Yeah.
right after your webinar, we engage her to provide personal branding coaching for me and for our teammates as well. So, kung nagtataka kayo, ba't coach ko ang tawag ko sa kanya,
Pag-coach
Coach V ko talaga yan on personal branding. Alam mo, Coach, sabi mo kanina, mahirap talaga. You're on your second year of building the business. I remember my first 2 years
Oo.
in building this business in 2005 and
Mm.
2006. No? So on the side, no, outside of this webinar, of this podcast, if you have questions on
Ay,
running a
oo. Ako na
business, no,
magpapa-coach sa inyo. That's
please
so
do
nice.
reach
Mhm.
out to me. No, message lang tayo.
Yeah.
Tapos yung sinasabi mo mga time trackers, when I was a
Mhm.
freelancer before, walang ganyan.
Ah,
Ngayon,
talaga
meron na
walang
talaga mga
technology. Mm.
productivity technology tools. No?
On
So,
one hand, it's good. On
mm,
one hand, it's good. Pero siguro it just doesn't fit me. I don't,
aha,
kasi it's very hard when you're a writer. Remember, I'm writer, editor ako. When you're a writer, you don't get paid by the number of times you click on the mouse or you click on your
mm,
keyboard. That's not how you work. How you work is
mm,
that even while I'm taking a bath, while I'm
mm,
doing something else,
mm,
my mind is running. I'm trying to
mm, mm,
conceptualize. I'm thinking about how can I
mm,
improve that story? How can I improve
mm,
that article? They
mm,
don't pay that because they don't see it on the tracker. So what
mhm,
I'm saying is that
mhm.
when you're on the creative side,
Yeah.
you spend a lot of time conceptualizing, improving your concepts. And when you rely on time tracker, it doesn't capture exactly the meaning of what you do. And that's why it doesn't work for me. But in many cases, it can work for remote
Mhm,
workers who
mhm,
are still starting and they
mhm,
cannot get the balance. Because
mm.
honestly, there's so many distractions. Pag wala kang time tracker, pwedeng nag-Facebook ka na pala, nag-Netflix ka na.
Correct.
Hindi mo, it's a good training for focus. But
Mhm,
once you
mhm,
mastered how your body works, how to have
Mm-mm.
your own focus, how to have your self-discipline, you
Mm-mm.
can get rid
Mm-mm.
of it. I mean, in
Especially
oh,
creatives pa naman, no? May writer's block na tinatawag. And then sometimes you
oh,
incubate your ideas whenever you're doing something else.
right. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay. The habits that you mentioned, three powerful habits. Let me just repeat: believing in yourself,
Mm-hmm.
habit of believing in yourself, because there will always be that doubt. No? And
Mm-hmm.
number two, if habit one starts with yourself, habit two now expands it to the network or to your support system
True.
around you. Ganda, from yourself, habit one, to habit two, make sure that the people around you also believe in you.
True.
And
Mm-hmm.
then habit three, extend natin yan na whatever the goal is, be laser focused on your goals.
Right.
And we're talking about habits, coach. Habits are not just something that comes around at a
True. True.
certain time. This
Mm-hmm.
is a product of your years of experience before. When did you first develop this? The childhood memories ka ba dito? Or previous work experiences that eventually led you to ito ang three habits ko. One, two, three.
Childhood experiences wala, but I think being a freelancer is a good stepping stone. So to those who are, for example, if they're looking into for employment to consulting to becoming independent, ang gandang
Mm,
stepping stone ng pagiging freelancer. And it's
mm,
also a great stepping stone if you want to be an entrepreneur. Like
mm,
my journey right now. Kaya ako napunta dito is because of freelancing. Because as a
mm,
freelancer, ikaw lahat eh. Ikaw ang
mm,
CMO, ikaw ang CTO, ikaw ang
mm,
CEO, ikaw lahat.
mm,
Marketing,
mm,
branding, and then ikaw
mm.
pa yung nag-work. You do the work,
Yes.
you do the everything. And I think really it's a
You are
good,
the product eh. Di ba? You're the product. VB Consulting is you. Di ba?
yeah, that's how I started even as a freelance writer eh. Ako yung
Mhm,
hahanap na, although in my case siguro I'm lucky then because I don't have to look for clients as a
mm,
freelancer back
mm.
then because I had LinkedIn. It just came
Yes.
to the point that I have so many people approaching me. So I
Mm,
learned how to subcontract. When I'm
mm,
the
mm.
contractor and then I assign some of the tasks to some
Mm.
subcontractors. So that's
Okay.
how I learned that I had an idea, I can create my own business because I can make
Mhm,
this work.
mhm,
So I
mhm,
think that's the experience being a freelancer and
mhm,
having a family that you cannot have the feast famine thing that you have to make
mm,
sure that consistent yung income mo. That's a good
mm,
stepping stone and that helps me a lot in developing all of these habits. Even the
ba
habit of focusing lang eh. Physically focusing lang.
yes.
Pag when I'm working, the people at home, they know that I'm working. Kasi
Mhm,
you need to get
mhm,
the buy-in of your family if you're working from home. Pa hindi
mhm,
pwedeng,
correct.
unless siguro there's fire, pwede ka nang i-disturb. But otherwise, they understand. But it doesn't
Yes.
mean you tell them to come to you, but they understand whether pwede kang kausapin or busy ka.
Mm,
And then
mm,
find the time also na hindi ka rin pwedeng kontakin ng work mo pag nasa family ka.
mm,
Kaya ako,
mm.
ang ginagawa kong habit, ito, mini habit, I think.
Yes, yes.
When I'm not online, when I'm not in front of my laptop, kasi sa
Mhm,
laptop ko halos may pagka ano may pagka ikaw akong konti lang siguro. Round the clock nagwo-work ako kasi nandito lang siya. And I
yes.
think 'pag nagsisimula kang entrepreneur, gagawin mo talaga eh, 'no? Kung puwede lang
Correct.
hindi na akong matulog kasi nanghihinayang ako sa oras, I want to do this and that. You can do a lot of things kapag talagang nasa
Mhm,
bahay ka.
mm,
Pero ang
mm,
ginagawa ko, mini habit ko is
mm,
'pag wala ako sa harap ng laptop, nasa family ako o nasa labas kami,
mm,
hindi ako nagdadala ng smartphone. Hindi ako nagfo-phone.
mm,
'Di mo puwede akong
mm.
kontakin sa Skype, 'di mo ako puwedeng kontakin sa LinkedIn, kahit LinkedIn di
Walang
ako
sasagot. Walang
wala.
sasagot.
There was a
Mm.
time ang dala ko yung alam mo yung phone na Nokia na hindi smartphone. Text
Yes.
lang talaga. Text lang talaga kasi
Mm.
those people who know me, they can text
Mhm.
me if it means it's important. Pero I
Mm,
don't bring
mm.
smartphones. If I'm AFK, I'm AFK.
Yes,
That's what
yes.
I do.
Mm,
Para rin lang
mm.
may separation. Kasi I
Mm,
give a lot of my time sa work ko eh. So when I'm
mm.
AFK, I'm with my family. I think that's a
So
good
that's
thing. Thank
Sabi
you.
mo nga, it's a micro habit which supports habit number 3, yung being laser focused
Focus.
on your goals and
Right.
priorities.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And you touch on freelancing. There are a lot of freelancers, especially in this time of the pandemic, coach. No?
Mm-hmm.
And ano kaya ang, just like you moved from freelancing, you said since 2010, if I'm not mistaken, no?
2010,
From
yeah.
since
Mm-hmm.
2010. So that was about 8
10 years
years of
ago.
freelancing, no? Or 8 years of freelancing before you put up a BB Consulting.
Mm-hmm.
But freelancing, you mentioned something about feast and famine earlier. That's one of the major concerns of a freelancer, di ba? Minsan
Mm-hmm.
marami, minsan wala. Sometimes it's really a lot that you can't handle, and then there are months that you can't, you don't have any. Any
Right.
advice to our freelancers? What habits do they need to develop early on aside from the three that you may have mentioned?
People always ask me, I want to be a freelancer, pero am I going to resign? Yan lang yung major question nila. Magre-resign ba ako? Parang they're no longer happy. They want to work from
Mm-hmm.
home with the family.
Mm-hmm.
Pero
Mm-hmm.
anong gagawin ko? Kasi alam nila yung feast and
Mm-hmm.
famine, that's a reality. Na ang advice
Mm-hmm.
ko dyan is this, don't just jump in. Parang
Okay.
tatalong ka, wala ka man ng parachute. Siyempre, ano mangyari
Mm-mm.
sa'yo? What I
Mm-mm.
did, what I did, which I didn't mention at the beginning, while
Mhm.
I was working full-time, I was already freelancing on the side. Nagsusulat na ako ng 2008. Do'n ko
Mhm.
na din
Mhm.
na-discover na, I can get paid in dollars pala 'no. Do'n
Mm.
ko na
Mhm.
naisip 'yon, na if I work for example 'no sa academe dun sa when I was working full-time, yung 1
Mhm.
month salary ko dun kaya kong kitain isang gabi as a freelancer. But there's a
Mm.
drawback, baka bukas wala na yung client na 'yon. Hindi
Mm.
walang
Mm.
security. So what
Correct.
I advise, you have to build something first. You
Mhm.
have
Mhm.
keep your day job. Siguro
Mhm.
for 2 years, 1 year, 2 years, keep your day job. But
Mhm.
remember this, don't give 100% of yourself.
Mhm.
Kasi ganyan na Pinoy eh. They work for a
Mhm.
company, they work more
Mhm.
than 8 hours. Minsan, teachers, mag-uuwi pa ng papers.
Mm.
Mag-check
Mm.
pa, magre-record ka, magpe-prepare ka.
Mm.
Wala kang niring time sa family mo. Keep
Mm.
the day job,
Mm.
but make sure you don't give 100% of yourself. Keep
Mhm.
a certain percentage for yourself. Yan yung
Mhm.
hustle. Mag-hustle ka para sa sarili mo. Always
Mm.
remember that when you're employed, you are helping the owner build his dreams.
Mhm.
There's nothing
Mhm.
wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that
Yes.
because once that business owner or entrepreneur is able to build his dreams or her dreams, he or she will be able to help a lot of people.
Mhm.
But while working for that person, you have to work for yourself as well.
Mhm.
That's the time that you have to build your personal brand. It
Mhm.
may sound like, ano ba yun, personal brand, ganyan kasi yung a notion ng other Filipinos. But the thing, it's just your reputation. Let's make it simple.
Mhm.
It's just your
Mhm.
reputation because these days, no matter how good you are, no matter how brilliant you are, if nobody
Mhm.
knows you, then nobody knows you. Nobody
Mhm.
knows you. I mean,
Yes.
you may be the smartest in the room, but if nobody
Mhm.
knows that, you won't get the opportunity. The one who
Mhm.
is really visible, that's the person who will get the opportunity, even if that person is not the best in the room.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
build yung reputation nyo. Build nyo yung network nyo. Because kaya tulad nito, during pandemic, because of my network, we're growing.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
don't just jump in. Have a plan, plan of
Okay.
action. You have to
Mhm.
prepare and make sure
Mhm.
that you start building your network and start
Correct.
having clarity. Kasi kung aalis ka mag-freelancing, maraming freelancers ganito, Louis.
Mhm.
Freelancers
Mhm.
sila and they do everything.
Okay.
Writer, writer ka ng kahit anong papers, academic writing, technical writing, copywriting, lahat ng
Mm.
writing.
Mm.
Ganyan din ako nung una, basta may client, oy, kaya kong sulat yan.
Mm.
Ganyan.
Mm.
But you will get exhausted because you're doing a lot of things.
Mhm.
You're all
Mhm.
over the place. So ang
Walang laser focus, no?
wala eh. Ang gawin mo,
Mm-mm.
alamin mo na what is it that you really want to do. That even
Mm-mm.
if you don't get paid doing that, you will still do it.
Yes.
And then build your reputation on that aspect. Kasi pag
Mm-mm.
nag-build ka, kahit freelancer ka or entrepreneur ka, pag
Mm-mm.
nag-build ka, if you don't like what you're doing, it's easy to give up.
Mm-mm.
Maraming ganong moments, naku, mag-usap tayo, Louie. Maraming ganing
Yes.
moments na feeling ko, it's so easy to just drop all of this. I can have one
Mm-mm.
client and I can have a decent life and then I can enjoy my life. So why do I need to
Mm-mm.
take in a lot of clients? May mga reason
Yeah.
tayo eh. 'Di ba?
Yan
So
yung
siguro,
yan yung mga phases sa entrepreneurship, coach. May phases na it starts with you and then you are excited because you're growing and then later on you want to grow and expand and there comes a point that hiring becomes an issue, getting the right people becomes an issue and then you suddenly think, will I scale up or should I scale the is it expansion o mag-usap tayo niyan coach pag
oo,
meron
ganyan
pag
nga yung
meron ka
nasa,
mga
yan
questions
ang
na ganyan.
tumatakbo sa isip ko ngayon eh.
Pero ang maganda rito, yung advice mo sa mga freelancers natin. Actually, we've covered a lot of questions na
Mhm.
in our the guide. No? A lot of freelancers may be afraid of getting into entrepreneurship. You just gave them a solid advice. And one is to start with personal branding. I know that we have given a lot of advice to a lot of venues, even in your LinkedIn post, even in your webinars. If you can just repeat or even add, what would be these three advice that people who want to build a personal brand will
Mm.
benefit from? Kung merong habits, halimbawa ako, I want to start building a strong personal brand, 2 to 3 habits that they should develop or advice that you can give to them.
This is yesterday I just shared it on LinkedIn, yung 3 V's ko. 3 V's.
I saw that. Go ahead.
By working with a lot of clients, managing hundreds of LinkedIn profiles and LinkedIn
Mm.
pages, and having made work for myself, I discovered na yung 3 V's pala yung key. And i-relate ko siya sa habit. How are you going to translate each V to habits? So the first
Mm.
one, if you want to succeed on LinkedIn, is visibility. This is the
Mm.
number one problem. People would go to LinkedIn, they would post something, and then they will hear crickets. None. No reaction whatsoever. They try it again. No reaction. It's
Mm.
because they don't know that there is an algorithm that decides whether your post will be shown to a large number of people who decide
Mm.
who will see your post. Now, on
Okay.
maraming mga ganon technical stuff which we cannot touch today. But the thing is, let's turn that visibility into habit because without visibility, there's no point talking about other things. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to be there, show up consistently.
Post,
That's
post, post.
that,
Yun lang.
that,
Post, post, post.
Oo, kahit walang actually sa
Mm.
freelancers ha, kung sa mga listeners ng freelancers,
Mm.
even if nobody reacts, remember that in my experience ha, 10 years, yung mga
Mm.
clients na yan, hindi yan nagla-like, hindi yan nagko-comment, hindi yan nagla-love,
Mm.
nag-heart sa post natin. What they do, they contact us directly. So just because there's no engagement, it doesn't mean nobody sees it. Merong
Mm.
nakakita. And many of the people who come to me have been watching me do things on LinkedIn before they contact me. Kung one time lang, you can convince them. Twice, maybe 3 times, yes, consistently. And it takes a
Mm.
habit to do that. So
Okay.
show up consistently. The second V
Okay.
is value. Get rid of the thinking that you're there because you want to get something.
Mm.
Especially if yung mga they're thinking about their business, for example, pandemic ngayon,
Mm.
no? A lot of
Mm.
people are actually just dumping in outreach messages selling this and that, insurance here,
Mm.
insurance there. They didn't even
Mm.
bother to ask may insurance ka na pala.
Mm.
Alam mo
Mm.
yun?
Mm.
So, the habit there is that make sure that you get into the thinking of adding value. That's the
Mm.
second V.
Mm.
Don't think about what you will get. Think about what you can give.
Mm.
It's easy to say.
Mm.
Lagi kong inuulit yan, Louis, sa LinkedIn.
Yeah.
And Kasi marami pa rin hindi nakakaintindi. They think that if
Mm.
they go there, they need promotional materials. This don't
Mm.
work on LinkedIn. Maybe it
Mm.
would once they already know you. But
Mm.
when you're starting, you have to show that you have some value to offer.
Mm.
People don't care
Mm.
about us until they know
Mm.
that we care about them. This is
Ang
so
hate na hate ko yung ano yung magko-connect when you accept them. Meron ka agad private message offering their products, whatever it is, insurance, real estate, or services, no? Yung kaka-accept mo lang sa connection na request nila.
and they didn't even know some because they
Mm.
really don't know it. But what I feel
Mm.
for them, but I feel for them because they didn't know that that one message will ruin their reputation forever.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
It will.
Mm.
So what
Okay.
if nag-offer ka muna, nakipag-usap ka muna, nag-engage ka
Mm.
muna sa post niya, tapos
Mm. Mm.
minessage mo na, Louie, thank you for your post. It really helped. Yung genuine na, hindi lang parang may
Yes.
masabi ka. Because
Yes.
people can smell if this is genuine or not.
Mm.
Even
Mm.
in my post,
Mm.
may nakikita akong parang there are comments, pero every post ko ganun yung comment niya. So,
Mm.
I'm not sure totoo ba to o kasi may mga ano ngayon eh, may mga third party tools na nag-o-auto comment. May mga ganung tools, eh, auto like, auto comment, ganyan.
Mm.
So,
Mm. Mm.
if you really want to get something, mag-invest ka ng time mo. Get to know the
Mm.
person. And this
Mm.
is really
Mm.
something that I learned on LinkedIn. Value. Without value, you cannot build a tribe. Without a
Okay.
tribe, you won't survive.
Okay.
Gary
Okay.
Vaynerchuk, lahat ng influencers on LinkedIn, the reason they're
Mm.
there is because they're able to build a tribe,
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
And I
Mhm.
think in my case kasi nga ano ako eh, former teacher ako. And when you're a teacher, nasa isip mo lang how do you help? Nagturo
Yes.
ka rin before, di ba? Ang sarap
Correct.
na feeling when you are able to teach them and then they appreciate what you teach them. And when they
Mm.
become professional, they go back to you and message you, Ma'am, thank
Agree.
you for teaching me how to do this. I learned a
Agree.
lot from you and you inspired me. Ang ganda niya, ang ganda niya. So
Mm.
that's the
Hindi tayo
concept.
ano eh, hindi tayo sales people, 'di
Hindi.
ba? We are in the business of serving and sharing. Mm.
Mhm. And that's what really works on LinkedIn. Don't think
Mhm.
about what you
Mhm.
can get. Think about what you
Mhm.
can give. And I always
Mhm.
believe, because I believe in the law of attraction, eh, what you
Mhm.
give, it goes back tenfold, maybe more
Okay.
than what you expect.
Okay.
So number three, V, is vulnerability, meaning be authentic. People
Mm.
on LinkedIn would go there and think that oh I'll tell them these are my awards, these are my,
Mhm.
alam mo yon, lahat ng accolades, and then everything they
Mm.
talk about
Mm.
themselves. People
Mm.
will feel like, what is he talking about all this time? He's
Mm.
talking about himself. They can
Mm.
like you once, twice, three times, but after that they're done with you
Mm.
because
Mm.
they're not getting anything. So,
Mm.
yun, what you can do there, instead of talking about the technical stuff, for example, I
Mm.
also share educational materials. But
Mm.
sometimes people tune out na rin eh. If you give them
Yes.
a lot of tips here, tips there, everybody can give
Mm.
that. I mean, they
Mm.
can do
Mm.
Google search pa nga with that unless super original yung ino-offer mo. But
Yes.
what they cannot do Google search on is your story.
Mm.
Be
Mm.
vulnerable, share your
Agree.
story.
Mm.
There's
Mm.
so much to learn from your story. People
Mm.
think, "Mm, masyado naman personal, I can't do that. Di naman to Facebook." It doesn't really matter kung Facebook or LinkedIn if the intention is
Mm.
correct. If the
Mm.
intention is,
Mm.
for example, I was telling you right now, di ba, na ang journey ko ngayon is how to be effective as an entrepreneur. How do I build a team?
Mhm.
How do I find the right
Yes.
talent? And so on. So because
Mhm.
that's my pain point right now, alam mo na.
Mm. Mm.
Because you've been there
Po-post
for
na
so
ako ng ganyan.
yun.
Magpo-post
Oh.
na ako ng ganyan. How to
Pag
find the right talent.
yun, kasi di ba yung story mo na yan, dun, mag-ano yun eh, it will inspire me.
Mm.
And number two, it will put me in the right mindset.
Mm.
And it
Mm.
will give me
Mm.
another perspective na hindi ko pa nakita. And I know
Mm.
this is not based on books. This is based on your experience.
Correct.
So,
Correct.
marirealize ko, pinagdaanan mo na rin pala yung pinagdadaanan ko.
Mm.
That's so valuable.
Mm.
I can't do Google search on that. And then I can approach you. Message it, Louis, I saw your post and it really resonates with me. And then it starts a conversation. And now you find yourself in another world. Someone is mentoring you. And that is so powerful.
Wow.
That is what I mean by vulnerability. Be you.
Mm-mm.
Show up as
Mm-mm.
you. Don't show up as
Mm-mm.
someone that you want to be put in the pedestal. No,
Mm-mm.
show up as someone who is relatable.
Mm-mm.
Lumebel ka dun sa audience mo. And
Parang hindi ito Instagram, This is not Instagram where you just post, right? The beautiful side of you where the models are. And yes,
right,
it's authenticity.
right. And I also noticed that, Louie, na halimbawa, ang post mo puro branded, no? Okay lang naman to do
Mm-mm.
branded things kasi it helps in
Mm-mm.
recall. Pero
Mm-mm.
may mga natural photos rin that work so well. Yung alam mo,
Mm-mm.
on the spot
Mm-mm.
lang, nagpicture ka lang, tapos may maganda
Mm-mm.
kang thoughts on that na very helpful,
Mm-mm.
it resonates sa audience mo.
Mm-mm.
That is very powerful. Compared with yung
Mm-mm.
nakapost ka talaga, tapos may
Mm-mm.
brand pa and so on. The
Yes,
more
yes.
authentic you appear, the more relatable you are, the more that you
Mm-mm.
will break that barrier between you and your
Mm-mm.
audience. And suddenly
Mm-mm.
you will find them approaching you.
Mm-mm.
That's the way for
Wow.
people to like you. And that is so powerful and underestimated ng tao eh. They think, ang
Mm-mm.
corny naman. But
Mm-mm.
there's a way to do that kasi there are people who would tell stories at the end of the day. It dilutes their brand.
Mm-mm.
Yung story
Mm-mm.
nila walang kinalaman sa ginagawa nila.
Okay.
May ganun
Okay.
eh, story ka ng story, pas at the end of the day, anong ginagawa ni Louie? Kasi ang dami yung kwento,
Mm-mm.
ano ba ginagawa niya? Hindi naman yun
Mm-mm.
helpful sa'yo sa business mo. So
Mm-mm.
what I do actually, yung vulnerability na yon, i-mix mo your story, i-mix mo
Yes.
sa brand narratives mo. Kasi
Mm-mm.
we have a
Mm-mm.
lot of stories. But which
Mm-mm.
story are you going to pick up? Number
Mm-mm.
one, dapat relatable sa audience, di ba?
Yes.
And number two, i-connect mo sa brand narrative mo. Kung
Mm-mm.
personal
Mm-mm.
branding ba yan or LinkedIn ba, i-connect mo dyan. There's a
Mm-mm.
reason kung
Mm-mm.
bakit yan. Tsaka kung ano yung backstory mo, connect mo silang lahat. So
Mm-mm.
yun lang. So how do you make that into a habit? Kasi sabi mo, di ba, habit. Make it a
Yes.
habit to be you. Don't
Mm-mm.
pretend to be someone else. There's no point doing
Mm-mm.
that. It's very hard
Mm-mm.
to do that actually. Ang
Mm-mm.
daling maging
Mm-mm.
ikaw eh. And
Correct.
isipin mo, if you become you and they don't like you, that's fine. I would
Mm-mm.
prefer that than you become someone else and then people love you. If
Mm-mm.
they don't love you,
Yeah.
it means they don't love you. They love the person that you are trying
Mm-mm.
to. Mas
And
maganda
and then you feel fake later on, diba? You feel that you're a fake, and then
yun.
you fake people as well.
And that's not
Mm-mm.
sustainable. That's hard
Yes.
work.
Correct.
Being authentic is it's easier.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
So ayun,
Wow.
tatlong V, make it into habit, do it every
Mm-mm.
day, mix it with consistency and
Mm-mm.
clarity. So dapat clear ka. Clear, why are you doing all of those three V's? Clarity, and then how often should you do that? It's up to you. That's connect that
Mm-mm.
with consistency.
Mm-mm.
So put them all
I
together. That's very powerful.
I felt like it was a wide webinar that you gave us. Really,
Ganun
really
ba?
fully packed. The first we started with 3 habits. Habit of believing in yourself. And then habit of surrounding yourself with people who believe in you. I see
Mm-hmm.
the powerful connection. And then later on, you may have the habit of believing in yourself, but for what? It's for the goals that you set, laser
True.
focused.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to build a personal brand, another 3 habits. The habit of visibility,
Mm-hmm.
post, 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 just be present. The habit of
Bring
value,
value.
just
Mm-hmm.
give, 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 and share, share, share. And at the same time, what we share is the habit of vulnerability. Just be yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that 1 hour may not
Ay,
be
ano.
enough,
An
and
hour
it's
na
okay
pala.
because, di ba, di mo napansin, coach, Which is why, if there are people who will reach out to you for personal branding coaching or branding coaching for their organizations or teams, they might be a small business or a big company or an individual. will they reach out to you? What's the best way to get in contact with you, Coach V?
Of course, on LinkedIn. May,
Mm,
excuse me, may i-add ako dyan, Louie, kasi remote
go
work na
ahead.
tayo. No?
Oo.
Short lang, kasi remote work na
Sige.
tayo. Whether in the corporate world, since people are at home, and if you're hiring, dati, di ba, for example, you want to get to know the CEO or the vice president, what you can do is to go to the office. When you go to the office, you will see the pictures, di ba? Yung family, yung design, yung mga trophies, all of these
Yes.
things. And all of these things will tell you who this person is. Gives you an idea. Kapag puro picture ng family, siguro family.
Family-oriented.
Tapos ang dami niyang souvenir from different countries. Traveler to.
Yes.
Ngayon, wala na yun eh. Wala ka ng office. Makikita mo na closed yung office ngayon. Diba? And we don't know when it's going to be normal. So, I would recommend, especially the executives, it's important that you connect with the people who are working from home. And one of the best ways is to build your presence in social media. And of course, on LinkedIn. Kasi they're doing research on you. They want to know who you are as a person. They want to know what you have accomplished so far. They would be interested. And imagine LinkedIn as your office. Andyan lahat ng values mo, you show it there. Lahat ng credentials mo na relevant to what you do, you show it there. And then you engage with people that matter to you. And then they can engage with you. That is much more powerful than going to your office in that
And
building.
before you have a business card, now what Coach V is saying, your giving business cards has just been made obsolete. Your business card is now your LinkedIn profile. What you put in the LinkedIn profile. And for coaching on how you can optimize your LinkedIn profile, just like how I did it and some members of my team did it, Coach V can definitely help you reach out to her. She will tell you more tips that support the 3 V's, yung visibility, value, and vulnerability. At saka paano mo gamitin. Tama si Coach V, what you put in your profile, that is now your office that your target decision makers can visit and they will say, I want to do business with this guy or with this person.
Correct.
Wow.
Thank you.
Hi, Coach. I know that limited time will not be enough, but it's okay. You are just there in LinkedIn. You are just within reach, no? Within a message away. I'm sure that we'll have many opportunities to talk about more topics that are relevant to our ever growing audience. Coach V, I thank you. I thank you for meeting you. I'm grateful for really meeting you in LinkedIn. You showed us the way you shape how we also make decisions now in terms of our presence in social media. And it's not just being in social media, it's branding talaga eh. Personal and organizational branding. May your tribe increase and we wish all the best for VB Consulting. If you have questions, no, because your business is in its infancy, may mga birth pains ka pa, I'm just here to return the favor. Usap tayo.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Louie. Thank you.
To our listeners, Coach VB, Virginia Bautista, VB Consulting for your personal branding and organizational branding needs. Coach VB, bati ka naman ng isang hello world.
Okay, hello world.
That's Coach VB Virginia Bautista for episode number 7 of the Hello World podcast. This is Louis Banta of LJMB. Thank you for watching my video. To watch more videos like this, click subscribe and hit the bell icon below. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up, comment down below, and share it to others.